Hello everybody, welcome to another Friday night live stream. Tonight we are going to be working on making a small Scandinavian style cross peen hammer, if you will. It's going to be made out of wrought iron with high carbon steel faces welded in, both in the front and on the peen side of the hammer. So tonight I've got a billet of about 3 inches or 75 mil long piece in the fire right now that is also 1 inch round in diameter of wrought iron or 25 mil, and we've got it up nice and hot. A couple quick tricks to working with wrought iron if you're going to be undertaking this process is to take and remember wrought iron likes to be worked hot. The hotter the better. Whenever you're taking and trying to forge and form this out, think of it as almost keeping it at a welding temperature. If you do that, this thing will stay very plastic and it will be really, really lovely to work. If you let it get cool on you, not only is it harder to work, but you take a chance of fracturing the grain structure. Now, if that happens, it's not ruined, it's not the end of the day. Bring it up to a welding heat and forge weld that back shut, and it's no big deal. As long as you haven't burnt it or over-oxygenized it. So, but yeah, so basically that's what we're working on tonight. We will not get through the whole process tonight. I'm only going to be doing an hour-long live stream this evening. So if you're watching this on the replay, and by the way, take a quick second to say hi to Jess as well. She's managing the computer and cameras once again. But if you're watching this on the replay, it'll be about an hour-long live stream, and we'll try to keep it fairly fluid, but we want to take and acknowledge some people that we didn't get to acknowledge last live stream with our thank yous for the people that have donated super chats over the past month. We kind of got cut out about that time. And then also I had an item that I wanted to give away to an individual that had, donated a nice large super chat 2 live streams ago, is it now, Jess?
Yeah, it is.
It's been about 2 live streams ago now, and I wanted to take and give away an item too, so stick around for that. So we will make those acknowledgments as we go here. So real quick, let's get some people in chat and say hello.
Sure. Let's see, we have Brian Neely.
Brian Neely, good to have you.
North Country Forge.
North Country Forge, hello.
Michael Martin. Jackson.
Michael Martin.
Jackson Kotler.
Jackson Kettler, thank you for being here.
Andrew Freeman says, hello, I'm going to have to check out early, but I'll be back later on.
All right, Andrew, we'll be here for about an hour tonight.
KJ Owen says, what's going on? Nice to see you guys. Long time no see.
Well, good to have you here, KJ Owen. Good to see you. Well, we don't see you, but good to have you as part of the stream.
Good to see your comment.
Yeah, good to see your comment. Hear your comment, I guess. Yeah.
Let's see, Paul Ellis. B&B Forge, good evening.
Good evening, Paul Ellis, B&B Forge.
Cybertank Belmont says hello.
Hello, Cybertank.
So, yeah, take a moment and let us know if the stream and the video's coming in clear, and the audio as well. That way we know for sure.
Yep, we make sure everything's in focus and all that. Good solid stream.
Sir Skip says, hello from East Coast, Canada.
Hello. All the way from Ohio, Dayton.
Michael Martin says, I actually drove through what I believe was the city you live in earlier this morning, which was pretty interesting.
That's awesome. Yep, it's Dayton, Ohio. Oh. Now I live out on the outskirts of Dayton, Ohio. We live in a little town called New Lebanon, Ohio. That's west of Dayton. Good.
Billy Strong says, hour and a half if we get lucky.
If you're real lucky. We'll see. So,
all right, everything looks loud and clear, they say.
Everything's loud and clear. Good. So, okay, so I'm going to go to the anvil now. And since this is round, we want to take this round cross section and we just want to square it up so this way it's not rolling all over the anvil. This isn't particularly necessary at this step. But, like I said, a round object likes to roll around the anvil, and when you're trying to get stuff fit up and sized, it's just nice to have something that's more square in cross-section. Also, later on, you're going to forge it square in order to take and do, all your drifting and punching and all that other good stuff later on. So we'll go ahead and pull this out and go over the anvil. You want to go to the anvil cam, Jess?
Yeah, sure thing.
Okay. So we got it up a real nice hot temperature. Now one thing about wrought iron is wrought iron likes to squirt. It loves squirting slag. So you want to make sure that you don't have anything flammable laying around, that you don't want to have molten hot metal thrown on it. Now at this point, I'd also like to point out, there's a good chance, and I do mean a real good chance, that you're going to get burnt if you're working with wrought iron. That's just the nature of the game. Hopefully I'm perfectly in shot.
You're looking good.
Look like I'm good in focus.
Uh-huh.
Good.
AH says, why Ohio? LOL.
All my family lived here, and at the time it was a cheaper cost of living than Colorado Springs, so that's why I chose Ohio. Okay, so at every step in this process, you want to do your best job to...
Oh no, it really got away.
Yep, it went way over there. Hold on a minute. Gotta go digging.
For a slight intermission.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
If you guys could see me right now, I'm practically laying on the floor reaching under a rack.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
Have to keep a hold of that thing, huh?
Yeah, gotta brush it a little differently there. Brushing right now at this point is pointless. I wouldn't even worry about it, except I wanted to show you what I was talking about on the camera. So hopefully y'all can see the cleanliness that we're going for. Gonna have to readjust these tongs. It's been a while. Can you see on camera?
Yep.
So we want a really nice clean forging at each step. And the reason why this is critical is because we have to fit a high carbon steel face to this. So you don't want this to be all whopper jaw and weird and then not be able to take and fit a high carbon steel face on this. So you want this as nice, as close to square as possible. If at all possible, you want it as close to square. So I'll go ahead and take that in for one more heat and do a little more dressing up on it.
All right. Let's see. Brian Neely says, I guess that is slung forged.
Yep, slung forged. Not really a drop. It was really projectiled out of there. That's not even a word. Projectiled.
Projectile. Projectile. Billy Strong says, LOL, you don't have anything flammable around like your wife or your camera.
Yep. Nothing of importance. I love you, Jess.
I love you too.
Gotta make that clear.
Penny Brown says, just finished watching the video on the cross and S-hook. Very nice.
Glad you liked it.
Coffee Sports says, got 2 shirts in the mail today from your website. Yeah, I remember you saying last live stream you were ordering in, so that's good. It took them about a week then.
Awesome, Coffee Sports. Thank you for ordering that and supporting the channel.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
You are awesome.
Keith Dever says, can a wrought iron grounding hammer with the end busted be fixed?
What do you mean by the end of the end busted? The high carbon steel face chipped, broke off, dented. Clarify, please. And I would like to answer you.
AH says, could have come to Kansas. We need more great smiths in Kansas.
Well, I'm honored, sir, that you think I'm a great smith.
Susan Ellis says, an education and entertainment. What a deal.
Hey, you can't beat that. A twofer right there.
John Lavender says, evening all, hope you're all having a great day.
We are, John Lavender. I actually was very productive. I shot 6 videos today and got some customers' work done, and it was a good day. So it's been a busy week. So.
KJ Owen says, how great is it to work with your wife for having her as your #1 right-hand woman?
It is amazing. Wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think there's anybody else on this globe that could stand me. So, living with me 24/7, 365. It's my story and I'm sticking to it.
There you go. Michael Martin says, thank you for covering this topic. I've actually been wanting to make a few wrought iron hammers for a friend and also for shows. I picked up a 20-pound rod of wrought iron, which was a great find.
Yeah. Well, you're very welcome. I like making these kind of videos. So, all right, I'm going to have to get a little tricky with this.
All right.
It's about to fall down in the pit there. Let's go to the anvil, Jess.
Okay.
You good?
Yep, we're good.
So instead of going exactly square, what I'm actually wanting to achieve is more of a rectangle. And as close to square as you can get it. Or as close to rectangular as you can get it. Nice clean rectangle. Okay, looks pretty clean. I'm going to dress up the end of this face a little bit with the next heat. Basically, I want to take and crown it just slightly to the center. That is going to help our forge weld stick. So you don't want these perfectly flat, and you don't want it concaved. If it is concaved, it'll trap scale, and it will blow off your hammer face at a later date.
Gotta heat it up some more, huh?
Huh?
Gotta heat it up again.
Yep.
Pastor Josh Smith says, feel the same way, my bride is my right-hand woman too. Ben Massey says, you two are truly inspirational. Would love to take one of your workshops. Where can I see any up-and-coming classes? Ben,
Jessica, that'll be
yeah,
it.
Yeah, I'm actually working on adding a page for upcoming events on our website. I don't have it complete just yet, so it's not live on there yet. But I will definitely announce that on the live stream when I have it going. And right at this moment, we don't have any classes currently scheduled, but Roy does have a blacksmithing conference he's doing July 14th and 15th here in Ohio.
Yep.
And I will have some information.
At Rabba.
Yep. And I'll have some information on that on our website. I'll try to get it done by next week.
Yep. Yeah. So that is the Western Reserve Artists Blacksmith Association, RABA. I'll be doing a conference in June. Is it this year?
July 14th and 15th.
Is it July?
Yeah.
July 14th and 15th. I will actually, and I think there's one more day there, isn't there? It's a 3-day event, isn't it?
Well, you have to set up the day prior.
I set up the day prior, so there you go. All right, 2-day event. Anyways, I'll be the conference demonstrator for RABA this year, so super excited about that. We go all the way up to northeastern Ohio.
Yep. Cody Works says, got a vendor event and will be demonstrating all weekend. Prayers are appreciated.
All right, I'll be praying for you, buddy. But that is awesome. I'm sure you'll do fine.
Paul Fontanini says, I purchased the plans for the air texturing hammer and I would like to see more info on how you did your dies, please.
Okay. I'll have to do a video on that. I need to do a follow-up video on that specifically, or the dies. But basically put the dies, if you followed at all my entire air hammer series, I've got an entire playlist on tooling for the air hammer itself. It will be basically your dies are created exactly the same. The only difference is they're the same stock size. There's a hole drilled in one, and then you just grind or file whatever shape you want into your dies. You can make it out of mild steel, high carbon steel. You can do it with hard surfaced, mild steel. There's a lot of different options you can go there. But I will shoot a video very specifically on the dies for that hammer, if you'd like.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that would be good.
Okay. Did you ever clarify on about a wrought iron hammer with a face?
I don't
problem?
think I've seen it come back around yet.
Okay.
If you did,
Let me answer that real quick. Can a wrought iron hammer face be repaired if if a hammer face comes off or something like that? It is very difficult once the eye is already formed. So once it's been punched, you have to make sure that you get really specific heat on the end so you don't do a bunch of wonky stuff with the eye and deform the eye of the hammer, the drifted portion, okay? But it's very difficult to do that. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. A lot of the reasons, the first thing that you need to address, the reason why your hammer face came off is because it was not fully welded in the first place. It's a common misconception that when you weld a high carbon piece to a low carbon piece, that you're practically just sticking it on there, and then when you go in for the quench or anything like that, your face can come flying off at a later date. That is a misconception because there's carbon migration right at the joint, in the metal that is being formed right at that weld joint, if it is truly and properly, thoroughly welded through, is an alloy of both those, or it's a combination. It's not really an alloy, it's just a combination of the high carbon tool steel that you used and the wrought iron. It's kind of mixing together right at that joint. And it should be a really strong bond. Case in point, I've had this hammer now 6 years, Jess.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
This is a wrought, I use this every single day. This is a wrought iron hammer with 1045 steel faces welded in, and I've used this hammer every single day for about at least 6 hours of beating a day for the last 6 years. So that's a properly welded in face. It shouldn't ever come off. Now, what can end up happening is it will fracture, or you can crack the face eventually. It gets work hardened to a point. You can lose chips off of it. But if the face comes off, it was never properly welded in the first place. So that's something that you kind of have to address and look at in that case. If it's something where it's been cracked and chunked off, you can look at the grain structure there. And if it looks like it's been shearing off when it broke out a chunk, then that was a problem with the heat treat and not necessarily the weld, but it chipped off of a piece that way. At any rate, it may be easier just to hard surface it with some hard surfacing rod and then grind it back to shape if you want to save the hammer. I'm glad you answered that.
Yeah. John just wanted to say thanks for stopping by. He said he has to get back to work, but he said he enjoys seeing his cousin when he gets off work.
Awesome. John, thanks for stopping by, buddy. Love ya.
Billy Strong, he says, can you please explain what you are calling wrought iron? Is it real wrought iron, or is it what people call wrought iron now?
Okay. Very well. It's very good question. This is real wrought iron. Wrought iron today that you see in the store is not wrought iron. It is a look. The wrought iron of today is a look. Looks like it's been wrought, or like it has some forging characteristic to it of some sort. Real wrought iron has a very fibrous grain structure, and that is what I'm working with today. So, very clear, it is a wrought iron hammer, not a mild steel hammer. If I said that, that's what it'd be. It's not a high carbon tool steel hammer. It is a wrought iron hammer. The particular wrought iron I'm using has come off of a bridge that was tore down, that was originally erected in 1906. So I got this wrought iron at Quad State from a guy there. Forget his name off the top of my head, but the guy had a stash of it. I bought everything he had. He had another stash of it. The next year, I bought everything he had, basically. And so I've got a little over 142 pounds of wrought iron on hand. And I only use them for really special things like these hammers and stuff like that.
Graham, thank you for the $2 super chat, buddy.
Graham, thank you for keeping it consistent, my friend. Really appreciate you.
AH asked why you don't use your power hammer more on videos.
Great question. I do not use my power hammer for the simple fact that you don't own one. Maybe not you specifically, but a lot of people in my audience don't own a power hammer. And so therefore it's a bit unfair to take and say, hey, you can kill that antelope over there with a bazooka, but you don't own a bazooka. But I'm going to show you how. It's kind of pointless. So I really enjoy showing hand techniques at the anvil because I believe that's where you should learn first. Power hammer is a completely different breed, and just because you're good on a power hammer doesn't mean you're any good with hand forging. And same thing, just because you're really good at hand forging doesn't mean you're any good at a power hammer. So they are two separate worlds, even though they are both centered around forging. So with that being said, it is usually it's beyond the beginner's capability to have a power hammer in their shop. So that's why I focus all at the anvil. Plus, it's just a hell of a lot more fun than just me having headphones on and thumping away at some random project and you getting to watch that for hours on end. So let's go to the anvil, Jess.
All right.
Great question. Okay, so I'm going to stand this up on end. And all I'm trying to do is get it slightly crowned, but also nicely squared up. That there's no weird end cuts or anything like that. Right here is where most of the work is in doing hammers. Is your starting billet. I've got some junk here started on that from the forge. I'll have to brush that out when I get a little closer to it.